So 9/11. Yeah, but it was a tragedy. Do you guys think that it was like that we had anything to do with it or no? All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the first episode of the Conspiracy Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Holden DeShazo. I am here with
Jade,
Jocelyn,
Gavin.
Jade, Jocelyn, and Gavin. It's got a nice ring to it. Jade, Jocelyn, and Gavin. Today we are covering the topic. We were trying to think of a conspiracy theory to come up with for the first episode, and we thought that it'd be a good idea to cover the one that I believe is the most talked about, which is 9/11. And if you guys don't know what happened in 9/11, September 11th, 2001, two airplanes flew into the North and South Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. And it was absolutely terrible. A lot of people died. People were jumping from the buildings. A lot of stuff. However, people do think that something was going on with 9/11, including the Pentagon. When the Pentagon was hit, there was another tower that people don't talk about. And also they believe that there was some stuff going on with the president at the time, Bush, and his vice president, Dick Cheney. So I think to kick stuff off, I just kind of explained what happened in 9/11. So the Pentagon, that's a major talking point of what happened on 9/11, because there were conspiracies that surrounded that. And Jade, I think you researched about the Pentagon. So what conspiracies did you find surrounding that?
Okay, so I found two major ones. One was the fact that there was reports that they got declarations on war for we got declarations of war 10 minutes after the crash of the two towers. And then there was another one where people didn't believe that there was an actual plane that crashed into the Pentagon.
Right. And I've heard about that. And for those of you listening, the reason that they thought that is because in the pictures of the Pentagon, there was no plane wreckage. Was there anything else surrounding the Pentagon that you found was interesting?
Well, I did find a lot of interesting things so the main ones were the fact that there were supposedly no pictures of the crash, the hole in the Pentagon that wasn't wide enough for the plane to have crashed there. Yeah, those are the two main things that the conspiracy went off of.
Right. And right now, I know people listening to the podcast, you will not be able to see this, but I'm pulling up a picture right now of the Pentagon. And so really, honestly, I think what we all want to do for this podcast is to talk about the conspiracies. But also, if you guys don't know, there's a lot of whack jobs out there that really, they push conspiracies. And, a lot of it's crazy, crazy stuff. So I think what we want to do in this podcast is, when there's a conspiracy theory, we try to debunk the conspiracy theory if we can find evidence that proves it's not what people are saying it is, or in vice versa, there's evidence that there was a conspiracy. And right now I am looking at a picture of the Pentagon. And it does, from the picture, it doesn't look like a plane could have hit.
Yeah, so there was a lot of rumors that it was in fact a missile that hit it.
Right.
But there's been a lot of debate about that, because the fact that there would be a random plane that would just gone missing, and the fact that the way, because there was a small video that was captured by a traffic monitor close to the thing.
Right.
And in the video, some people speculate that it was the plane, the wings, when they hit, the wings hit the ground first, So when it collided, it was vertical and not horizontal.
That is definitely a possibility that a lot of people don't think about, because looking at the picture, the wings would have definitely taken out the two sides of the Pentagon where the actual hole is. Which, honestly, if a plane hits sideways going into a building like the Pentagon, it kind of, I guess, would look about the same as if a cruise missile hit the Pentagon.
Can you expand a little bit more on the war declaration thing you mentioned?
Right.
Okay, so there have been rumors that there was declarations of war immediately after the towers crashed to go to what was it? I think it was
Iraq.
Yeah, Iraq.
Right. Which, on that subject, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you don't know, Osama bin Laden was the one who orchestrated these attacks, a part of the Al-Qaeda terroristic group, or extremist, Islamic extremists. He orchestrated this attack, and his main two places that he was Pakistan and Afghanistan. Really nothing about Iraq. The Iraq war, they were going up against a guy named Saddam Hussein, who was the president of Iraq at the time. They said that there was weapons of mass destruction. They found no weapons of mass destruction. So that's the whole reason that they wanted to go to Iraq. And to your point, you were saying that they found war declarations, you said 10 minutes after?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was about a week after, saying that they were going to war with Iraq, which doesn't make any sense, clearly, because Afghanistan and Pakistan, those are the two places Osama bin Laden was found. And Dick Cheney, he loved oil. Oil is in Iraq. So that's why a lot of people believe that we went to Iraq was for oil, not for weapons of mass destruction. But, I mean, obviously we don't know what really happened. I just find it very, very odd that, nobody really came out and was like, no, like there was. I don't know. It just seems like a question hanging in the air that should have been answered. But yeah, so the war declaration 10 minutes after, which is very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. Did you find anything else related to the Pentagon?
Yes. So back onto the subject of the evidence part,
mm-hmm.
A lot of people seem to overlook that there actually was plane parts. It's just the FBI was really fast at cleaning it up.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been a lot of speculation that a lot of people don't believe that there was actually plane wreckage there. But there was.
Sorry.
Because they didn't really cover it in the news that much. Well, they didn't show pictures of the actual plane itself, but there were documented photos that just weren't talked about that have plane crash wreckage in them.
Aren't there museums for 9/11 that reflect images and pieces from the event?
Yes, but those are mostly about the two towers themselves.
Right. Which is also a very, very interesting thing. Well, I mean, it's not really interesting because the two towers falling, that was a big deal because, obviously that affected a lot of citizens. The Pentagon, that obviously is a tragedy, but, at the same time, it kind of makes sense just because it's you're going to hit military bases. A plane tried to go to the White House. It was brought down.
Didn't it crash into a field?
It did. And this is a very, very interesting thing that I actually just found out today. This is all, obviously, I want to have a disclaimer. Everything in this podcast is alleged. There's nothing solid behind this, really, because it is a conspiracy theory. But there was audio from the airplane, from the black box, that had a guy. So the story goes that the passengers on the plane overtook the terrorists that hijacked the plane. I think it was 20 terrorists, 19 hijackers.
That's a lot, god dang.
Yeah, it was 19 hijackers. They wanted a bunch on the plane so that way they could easily take over the planes. If one of y'all could look that up for me, please. How many hijackers were on 9/11?
I got my article pulled up, man. You pull out your phone.
Okay. Yeah. There were 19 hijackers, and allegedly somebody overtook the hijackers because they knew that they were probably going to die anyway. And there's audio of this guy going, "Let's go," or "Let's roll," and they took him down. But there's a new conspiracy that was fake audio, and it wasn't really brought down, that it was shot down, because of the plane wreckage was scattered miles.
Yeah, I heard
Okay,
about that.
so the team was organized into 4 different teams, and in each team there was 3 to 4.
So
Right.
is it 19? Probably
12.
12 hijackers?
Then we can't do math in here.
12
Yeah,
hijackers?
because it's 4 teams and 4 people in each.
Let me look that up real quick. I do want to get the stuff that we know as facts. I do want to get those straight, just so it's not.
Actually, while you're researching, a little fun thing for the viewers: if you go to YouTube, you can actually watch people. They recreated what they assumed happened on the plane, and it shows the hijack. There's hijackers in the obviously in the cockpit, doors locked, and there's a few outside. And actually, one of the people who were on the plane was shown as he was like a very professional karate instructor.
Right.
So it showed in the video that he led basically the group. They knew we're gonna die. This is it. But let's make this last stand. So we were gonna die, but obviously not a lot of more casualties. Save more people.
Right.
So they all rushed them. They actually in the video they snapped the dude's neck. Like you can hear they could rip his neck off basically.
Right.
And then basically they easily just rushed the terrorists. They just beat the crap out of them. Then they kicked down the door, and actually they're wrestling with the terrorist with the wheel or the steering wheel, and that's when it crashes down.
Right.
Okay, there were 19 of them.
19
And
hijackers.
14, yes.
Right. So I mean that's also very interesting, and the conspiracy around that is crazy, but it does make sense because if you crash something into a field, it's the wreckage of an airplane is not going to be scattered for miles. And we're not talking little, little bits of shrapnel.
Like whole pieces of the plane were in separate areas.
Miles, which is, which does make sense for it to be blown up. If you blow something up, it's going to scatter for miles. If you crash it into the ground, it's not. I just found that to be very, very interesting. But with the Pentagon, was there anything else wacky that happened with that?
No, that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah, because most of the coverage was over the 2 towers themselves.
Right. And then if you guys don't know, Tower 7, which a lot of people do not know about because it was not covered on the news, which I find very strange. Gavin, I believe you've done some research on Tower 7.
Like you said, a bunch even when I started researching, I had no idea what Tower 7 was. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a building. It's World Trade Center 7 or Tower 7 was a 47-story building, 47 story building next to the towers.
Right.
That what was strange about it is it collapsed 7 hours after the plane hit the first tower, but it was weird because no plane hit that tower. So people were wondering, how did it collapse in 6 seconds, like the whole thing?
Right. And it wasn't like a little bit of it collapsed, some stuff fell off.
My research shows, obviously.
Right.
The official statement was that the fire from the debris of the first tower spread to Tower 7. And after 7 hours of it burning, the tower, it just collapsed.
That does make sense.
But
I disagree with that. I don't think that makes
here's
sense.
the thing, though.
Okay.
In this article I pulled up, the reason I have it keep pulled up, because I actually found this really interesting. Tower 7 is classified as a Type 1 fire-resistive high-rise building. Okay?
Okay. Keyword fire resistant.
What's interesting about this is, so it's a pretty common type of building, or manufacturing. What's interesting about this is, they did people who made this article, they did their research. There's not, other than Tower 7 allegedly, there's not a single ever Type 1 fire-resistive high-rise building to ever collapse due to fire in history. Than Tower 7.
That's a little bit odd.
And it shows pictures. There's a lot of towers like Tower 7 that they're engulfed in flames.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
And they don't collapse.
They didn't collapse. Tower 7 collapsed, though, obviously.
But also, you would think that if it was engulfed in flames, people would catch a video of that.
There
are people right at the base of
zero
the-
casualties, right?
But I do believe people were too focused on the two main towers in that moment to actually be like, oh wait, that one's
Right. But there were videos of obviously the two towers. There were people from the base of the towers. And Tower 7, where was that located relative to the World Trade Center?
It was around the World Trade Center, right, and the plaza, and there's the towers surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the outside of the plaza, next to the first tower, I believe.
So you would think that people would capture a video.
That's why they said that the fire from the first tower spread.
to the second one.
See, that's why. Also, another thing, because we said in the beginning that not a lot of people know about this.
Right.
So if people who witnessed this in New York at the time, if they saw obviously the Twin Towers on fire, don't you think they would notice the tower right next to the first tower also engulfed in flames?
If it was engulfed in flames, however, if the buildings collapsed, I could definitely see some damage from that.
People were saying that maybe the fire was just around the base and maybe a little more discreet.
It could have been, yeah. And with the two towers falling, I'm sure the news probably thought, well, yeah, of course other buildings collapsed and may have had damage.
That's what, the official report, right, is the fire, but the conspiracy is actually that it was like a demolition, right? They set off explosives in Tower 7.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything significant about Tower 7?
I mean, it wasn't, that's the thing. I think it was kind of like an office building. Like there wasn't really any significance to it.
I have heard that there were some documents of importance in
did
Tower
you?
7.
What kind?
I'm not sure. Just classified documents that went missing.
You think that, I know a bunch of people saying that it was Bush that did 9/11. Maybe a conspiracy ties that when he also tried to get rid of the documents.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that, obviously, I don't think that we did 9/11, but I think we knew that it was happening. I think we had intel that it was happening, and, we were slow to react. And if you guys also don't know this, during 9/11, $2.3 trillion went missing.
Yeah, I
Really?
heard about that.
Yeah.
I was unaware.
And we have no idea where it went, but the timing is extremely coincidental. It makes it look like it's on purpose. Now, personally, I don't know about you guys, but with all of these conspiracies, obviously there's some where it's like, okay, come on. Like that's probably didn't happen. But also the $2.3 trillion, that's a lot of money. And it looks like that it went missing, quote unquote, because nobody would be paying attention to that, because everybody would be paying attention to this.
It draws attention.
Right. Using a diversion, which is 9/11, to have $2.3 trillion go missing. And I think that, 9/11 being such a big deal, $2.3 trillion going missing, nobody would really think anything of it. But I did find that very, very, very interesting. And there are some videos going around of back to Dick Cheney and the oil and all that stuff. There are videos of soldiers that were in Iraq screaming at the government officials saying, "You sent my friends to die," for weapons of mass destruction that did not exist. And also, Trump in his 2016 debate was debating Jeb Bush, I believe brother of George Bush. And he said, "You lied about there being weapons of mass destruction. You said there were weapons of mass destruction. Your brother said this. There were none. So y'all lied about that." And, I'm not trying to get political here, but Donald Trump is a very, very smart man. And when he was first running as president, he was a businessman in New York. So, he was paying attention to all that. He was the biggest real estate investor in New York City. So he was paying close attention to that. And I find that very, very, very interesting, because I don't think Donald Trump is the type of person to bring up a conspiracy theory, or I would hope not, to bring a conspiracy theory into a political debate unless there is some facts behind
Yeah,
it.
unless he can type.
Right. Unless there's something to back it up. So, Jocelyn, you have done zero research on 9/11.
Yeah, 0.
Right. What do you think about all
Well,
of this?
I just looked it up for Tower 7,
Right.
and I think it just happened because of the fire.
Right.
Because it says that column 79 fell because the fire was consuming it, and it just made like the whole building crack.
Right.
Yeah.
So that kind of like debunks.
Do you think that we had anything to do with 9/11? Do you think there was something
Oh,
crazy
yes.
going on?
Yes.
What do you think we had to do with 9/11?
I feel like the government, well, this is like a theory too, but I
Right.
feel like the government just wanted to take attention from something big happening,
Mm-hmm.
and do it at the same time as this so that people would like forget about that subject and focus on what's actually affecting the civilians.
Right.
Yeah, like we're doing something big right here, but here's something even bigger. And since they blamed it on like terrorists, it kind of draws like the American spirit and heart together more for it.
Uh-huh.
It brings the American something to bring the Americans together, you know.
Yeah,
To
because
forget more about what they're doing.
everybody in America,
They all got together, you know.
black, white, gay, straight, I don't care who you are. During 9/11, everybody came together because they realized this nation is under attack and we need to
Work
we need
together.
we need to come together. Yeah. 9/11, it's a very, very weird subject that's happened numerous times in our government. With so many, scandals and, things like that. Have
Do
you
y'all-
all...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you guys believe in the theories?
There's so many, like the inside job, the money, the terrorists, the Tower 70 explosions, the Pentagon.
I mean, like the ones about distracting people.
I mean, there's a lot of evidence against it and for it. I feel like it's just really just what you believe in yourself.
Personally, I think something did happen, but I also believe that this was not 100% us who did it.
Right. I'm with you on that. I don't think that we constructed it or orchestrated it, but I do think we knew something about it.
I second both of y'all. I don't think we were the main, but I don't think that everything they said, the government said about it, was entirely true. They're
Right.
keeping some stuff from the people.
Right, and that happens so many times. It's ridiculous in this country. Donald Trump just signed an executive order to release the JFK and Martin Luther King Jr. files,
I heard about that.
which makes zero sense to me. Why are you keeping those a secret? What was going on that made you not want to release those immediately and be like, here's what happened? There should be nothing classified with that, I don't think.
Do you think the U.S. planned the event, but they planned it to be something smaller, and it got out of control?
I don't think that. I do believe that Osama bin Laden did want to hurt this country, and he did want to do what he did. And if you guys don't know, one of his lead hijackers, Mohammed Atta, trained at a U.S. flight school.
Yeah.
And failed the landing portion like a loser. But he
Didn't need that part.
Yeah, he didn't need it. They were like, all right, guys, now we're going to practice landing. He was like, I'm out of here. Peace.
Yeah.
See y'all later. I do not need this
I
part.
got all I need.
Yep, got all I need. It would be funny if he did like the simulation, and in the simulation he crashed into the World Trade
Dude,
Center.
I haven't noticed you got a little close to those towers there.
Muhammad, you got to fly above the towers. And he's like, I got this. No, but yeah, I mean, and it's a very, very, very messed up thing. I was reading about the guy who assassinated Osama bin Laden, and that's another very interesting
Navy
thing.
SEAL?
Yeah, the Navy SEAL from SEAL Team 6. The way he did it was insane. They got into the building. They had an inside person check it out first. They said when you go in, You're going to look up a stairwell in his complex where he's hiding. And I believe it was 2011. So this would be 10 years, right? After, after 9/11 happened, they assassinated Osama bin Laden and compromised him. They told him, hey, when you go in there, up the stairwell is going to be Khalid bin Laden, Osama bin Laden's son. And what one of their guys did, or I think it was him, he looked up and he said, Khalid Delta Rasha, which means come here in his own language. Got him twice, went up, shot Osama bin Laden in the head. And because their issue was they didn't know if this dude was wearing a suicide vest. Because a lot of these dudes, if you shoot them in the body, they're wearing a suicide bomber vest. So it would blow everybody up. So 2 headshots got him. And the thing that really, I think, kind of messed him up too, for sure messed him up, is Osama bin Laden's wife and his kid were there. His kid was 2 years old. And he looked at his kid and said, you have nothing to do with this. And like set him next to the mother and they left.
I saw what you're talking. I saw when he was on a podcast, he was talking about where basically there was no way to ensure that they were going to make it out of this mission. So they were going into it fully thinking, I'm probably going to die here. Right. But it is what it is. He went in, killed the son, no mercy, basically. He said he went in and saw Osama bin Laden. He said he saw a tall man, scraggly beard. He knew instantly it was Osama bin Laden. And he shot him and dead.
Yeah. By the way, our Navy SEALs are insane people.
They're crazy.
That's the baddest story to look up at his son and be like, Khalid Datarasha, just in his own language, come here. And then he leans over the balcony.
Yeah, he shoots him.
Yeah, it's, an insane story.
Can't they get in trouble for that?
For what?
Killing the son if he didn't have anything to do with it.
He did. 100%.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Well, he was standing at the door with a weapon. So
Okay.
if they see...
He was armed?
He was armed because he was standing guard at the door.
He was guarding Osama.
Yeah. So they don't... The thing with the Navy SEALs is if you have a weapon, like you play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I've seen Marines and SEALs play the game and they say, this is exactly what we do. Like there will be times where like there's a woman and a child and there's a gun next to the woman. They point the gun. They say, "Do not grab for that weapon." As soon as they grab for it, you're dead.
Yeah, you're allowed to just shoot them.
Yeah, it's not like the police where they have to be like, "Please drop the weapon. Please drop the weapon."
The police
No.
is kind of more like you can't really shoot them unless they aim the weapon at you or they shoot at you.
Unless you're in fear for your life.
Yeah.
If the SEALs think that they're gonna be in fear for their life, they're taking your life.
They have the right.
Yeah, or they're gonna put you in custody or whatever. But and they shoot to kill. They don't.
Yeah, they don't shoot to like disarm. But I think police when they try to like teach you, it's like more shoot to like disarm. Navy SEAL, it's shoot to just get rid of the threat no matter how.
Yeah, just get rid of the threat. I saw a video of a dude. He was talking on a podcast. He would literally, like before shooting them, he'd like kick them in the leg and like break their leg.
What?
Just for fun. He'd be like,
Just casually breaks their leg.
yeah, I'll mess with you a little bit. Yeah.
That's psychotic.
Is that like a war crime or like just like torture?
It's not torture. It's okay. You're trying to hand-to-hand combat me. Okay, cool. Broken leg and then shoot you twice. I mean, those dudes. I'm so glad those guys are on our side.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying because that's an insane. It's so insane what those guys do on the daily, and some of them just talk about it like it's nothing.
Yeah, they're talking about like it's average Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, for them it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a video. Do you guys know the comedian Shane Gillis?
Yeah, Shane Gillis. He's amazing.
Yeah, Shane was talking on Rogan's podcast where he drunk texted his uncle, who's a Vietnam War veteran.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he goes, so how many people did you kill? Just texted him drunk, which you're not supposed to ask anybody. There was a time that my brother, he was at work or he was at some social event with one of his coworkers, and his coworker looked at another guy who happened to be a Marine, and he goes, "So you ever kill anybody?" And that guy almost killed him. You do not ask a veteran, "Have you killed anybody?" But Shane drunk texted his uncle and said, "So how many people did you kill?" And he sent a whole paragraph of
Names.
No, not names, just like how he did it. He was like,
How he did it? Just
Yeah.
each one?
yeah, he was like, we were surrounded by Viet Cong. The only savior that we had was a gunship named Spooky, which he was the captain of. And he said that he got in the gunship and mowed down at least 60 plus Viet Cong. Just casually texted him, yeah, I mowed down about 60 Viet Cong.
You
in the
think some of
Vietnam
those
War.
veterans have like no remorse for what they did?
I'm sure they don't want to kill people, but
Like,
at the same
there's
time,
a-
it's like, you know.
There's another Shane Gillis thing where he was talking about another veteran who had no PTSD, like no remorse basically about the people he killed.
Yeah, and they asked him, like, would you do it again? He was like, yep.
He's like, they're asking the old man. He's like, well, sometimes they have grenades, so you bayonet them.
Yeah, like literally, these dudes have I mean, there are a lot of dudes, they don't want to kill anybody, but the Army trains you to like,
It kind of like a psyche in your mind.
yeah, you kill the enemy and you have,
For your country.
yeah, you can't feel bad about what you did. Because if you feel bad, then you get in your own head and you can't do anything about it.
Okay, coming back to the topic.
Yeah, we should probably tie
yeah.
back. We got
Yeah.
a little loose there. We should probably tie back to.
So 9/11. Yeah, but it was a tragedy. Do you guys think that it was like, that we had anything to do with it or no?
I mean, I think we knew about it, but we didn't actively plan it.
Right. That's what I think. What about you?
Yeah, I don't believe any of the theories. I feel like
Not a
it was
single one?
just-
Not a single one, dude.
I feel like it was just an accident that happened. No, not an accident.
accident.
Not an accident. It was just
Like a car
accident.
crash.
it was just something that happened.
Okay. What do you think?
I think obviously some of it we did, but some stuff people just made up. Like they were just stretching the truth.
Yeah, I feel like it started with a good base of the conspiracy. Like, we knew that it was happening, the oil, all that stuff, and then people just went haywire with it. That's what I think.
Yeah, some theories they're like people on Reddit. They're like it was the Nazis. Like okay, this is getting a little too out of hand.
Yeah, that's not what happened at all. But Osama bin Laden got shot by SEAL Team 6. So, yeah, I mean, he's
Well,
dead.
good ending.
Huh?
Good ending for them. Or not for we're missing a few towers, but we took a few lives in return.
Sure, dude.
An eye for an eye.
Yeah, right. All right.
Let's do it from the beginning.
No, we're not doing it from the beginning. This is great. This is great content. No, but yeah, I mean, that's all we can do. I mean, what else are we gonna do? Right? We killed the leader. We killed the guy that did it.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we healed as a nation pretty well.
We've grown stronger, obviously.
Yeah, we have. We've grown stronger. Airport TSA sucks now, but it's flying.
Makes you
sucks now.
completely strip.
Yeah, it sucks now. But I mean, you know, that's what we have to do. So
Be safe.
yeah, be safe. I don't think it's gonna happen again. So nevertheless, whether you believe the conspiracy or not, we fixed it. So
We made it better.
we're fine.
But did we?
Yes, we did.
You're
And
100% sure
just
that
a
there's
quick
We're not
thing.
bringing
no
up. We're not bringing up
chances?
more conspiracies at the end of the podcast. That's not what we're doing, dude.
Just did we? Bum bum bum. Just end the
That's a terrible
podcast.
ending to the podcast. No, but all right. Well, we'll see you guys next time for more conspiracy theories and stuff that you wonder about. But I think we got to the bottom of this one,
Yeah, we dug pretty well.
or did we? No. All right.